So a few months back, I started my journey into Shopify. I got this great idea of a product to sell, and it was very fast for me to create an account, design the Shopify page, and insert a few products that I have imagined, create the product description, create the product images, create the marketing campaign. And within a week, everything was done.
Wow.
But there was still no traffic to the site. The first step I had in mind was using paid ads. So I created an ad account on Google, on Facebook, with the mindset that if I can spend enough money on ads, I will get sales eventually. But that didn't happen. It actually took a few months before my ads converted into real sales. Why? Was because I didn't have presence anywhere. All I had was a Shopify store. There was no Instagram, there was no Facebook, there was no social media that could support that this is a legit and a serious business. There was no content distributed across social platforms to build the basic social credibility that every site needed. So in my head, I was like, okay, let me create a few content to show that this website is legit, to show that this business has potential. So I started writing content on my own. And a few of the blog posts that I had on Shopify blog actually was indexed on Google and kind of pushed my domain ranking a little bit higher. But that was not enough. So I decided to hire a few content creators on Upwork. It was a small fee of like $5 per blog post. And what this did was it allows me to create a bunch of content. For the first batch, I got like about 50 content on my blog post. But this was also not pushing the content to the max. It was because many of the blog posts, they lacked creativity and they lacked my product being injected. Different blog writers have different personalities, have different ways of writing, and some of them also I caught using many of the AI tools. So the next logical step for me was, why don't I create my own AI automation workflow to create blog content on Shopify, with the purpose of creating so many content every single day that has my product inside of it. So when people are scrolling down the blog and they're reading and skimming through content that might relate to the problem that they're having, they will suddenly see my product in the middle. And this provides a clear CTA that every reader should come and purchase any product that I have. The conversion rate was much better and I could get organic reach on my blog. So in this whole video, I'm going to show you how did I set up this whole automation workflow using tools like N8N, ChatGPT, Gemini, and many other solutions that can help automate the process of content creation and also distributing these content on social medias like Twitter and maybe perhaps in the future like to Pinterest, to Facebook, to Instagram, and all other social media networks so that we can only write once and it's distributed everywhere. It allows you to index on Google automatically. It auto-publishes content for you. It generates beautiful banner with your brand logo, with everything that you might imagine. And the best part, the story, the promotions, the flow, all feels very natural. It feels like something that you have written yourself, not something AI created, even though the whole process has been automated. Now I'm going to show you a real blog that was created using this workflow called pinkmatcha.co. It's a health and lifestyle blog which has been fully automated from content creation to product promotion and as well as social media distribution. I'm going to walk you through the whole process on how I set up this whole workflow so that you can do it for your site as well. So stay tuned and watch till the very end. So this is the website of pinkmatcha.co. As you can see, it's very elegant, very beautiful. We have a few products that we sell. Mostly these are workbooks to keep your mind calm, to keep your workout fresh, and to keep your mind healthy. We've got like a few testimonials, and this is where we actually write about all the blogs that we have. We have blogs about nutrition, and as you can see, we have maintained a consistent color theme across all the banner images. It's always a combination of two. One is pink and one more is green. And in most cases, you will see that the woman in the picture is holding a pink matcha drink. And it's consistent throughout all our banners, regardless of our category. Here we have self-care, and then we also have a lot of fitness-related articles, and all of them are constantly holding our brand mascot. In this case, the brand mascot is not an animal, but it's a pink matcha drink. And so we have completed this whole website and create articles every day. You can see one of the products that we are promoting. The product is 7-minute morning habits. Now, this is actually a workbook for people to kind of complete and for them to engage with, and how to practice gratitude and a greater lifestyle. So it's a simple digital workbook that you can download. Now the question really comes on how to promote such a product through our Shopify store. We can put ads on it, of course, but I want a special organic way to promote these items. So here we have got a range of blogs that we write on autopilot every single day. So on January 1st, December 31st, even on New Year's, this blog is writing by itself. There are no employees, there are no workers. Let us look at one of them. So this is Can Vegan Collagen Skincare. Okay, so it's a skincare related article. It has a beautiful image of different kind of products that women can use. It has got a good description about the companies, about other products related to it. But we want it to be more seamless with our product. As we scroll some more, we can see a lot more descriptions about what collagen does for your skin, as well as other benefits related to this product. And then suddenly you see a 7-day mindful journey workbook that we promote. So this is one of our products, and we have seamlessly slipped it inside the content of one of the articles. Any user can just press add to cart, and then they can check out the process if something is related to them. So it becomes very seamless. It's like placing an ad, but instead of people watching, they can already interact with your product while scrolling the Shopify site. There's also a comparison table which compares different ingredients, the benefits, and what it means for the customers. Then my favorite part is FAQ at the bottom because it always helps with SEO and indexing the article to the top of any web page index. And there's a leave to comment at the below for some UGC related content. And that's it. That's a whole beautiful part of the article. We also post on Twitter, and whenever you see our post on Twitter, it's always seamless with the new products and the new posts that we are posting in our website. And whenever you click on any of the links, it directly brings you to the main website article. So this helps us to distribute our content across different social medias at the same time, like on Twitter, and maybe in the future we can expand this to like Pinterest, Instagram, and other Facebook related. So the article is complete, and this has been our whole blog setup. Now I shall teach you on how we can run it. To download this, you can go to our school AIA community, where we talk a lot about AI and automation tools that can help you market and increase your sales towards your customers. So this is our Shopify blog automation. This is a basic description about how the automation works, what kind of articles can you write, what kind of blogs can you create, as well as all the important documents below. From the main N8N workflow, the different tools that we use, from generating images and others, as well as to the documentation. We're going to go ahead and download all of these workflows one by one. All the workflows are .json file, and we can import it to N8N directly. And it's all complete from the technical documentation, as well as how you can implement it yourself or improve on this much further later down the line. Alternatively, you can go to our Gumroad link, where you can purchase the workflow for a one-time purchase fee, and it just tells you everything related regarding the workflow, from the way the workflow has been structured and what kind of traffic increase can you expect, well, how do you integrate your products, how to create multiple categories for your blog, and how to integrate all of them into the same N8N workflow. The whole documentation is complete and for you to just download and implement it yourself. But if you watch this full YouTube video until the very end, I will teach you the whole process that you need to get the whole thing up and running for your site. Okay, to purchase this, you go ahead and choose the workflow only and press buy. If you need any assistance, you can press the plus setup button. Otherwise, you can just insert your name, your details, and press the buy button. Once you've completed purchase, you'll find a landing page full with the technical setup, the different N8N workflows that you need. The technical setup is basically the step-by-step instructions on how to set up the whole workflow. But other than that, we can go ahead and download all of these workflow JSON like what we did before, but here in Gumroad. So we're just going to click download and wait for all of these JSONs to complete downloading. And after that, we will integrate everything to N8N. Alright, let's get started. In the technical documentation, you can actually find the step-by-step on how to configure this whole technology for your system completely. So we talk about importing different tools from the N8N setup, how to set up the MongoDB, which we have used in this case as the database for the whole blog automation. We complete full steps from setting up your Google Sheets to setting up your Shopify blog, how to get different API keys, and everything you need to know. Alright, let's now jump into N8N. Okay, we'll be using N8N for the whole automation. N8N is basically a tool that helps you integrate one node with another. In this case, we're going to be connecting many of the RSS feeds to our website called Shopify. Go ahead and register for N8N using my referral code and show your great support. I'm just going to create a new account so you can see the whole process from start to finish. After completing the whole standard registration procedure, we're going to see an empty screen looking like this. This is actually our workflow. For the first one, we're going to go ahead and import one of the workflow that we have just downloaded from Gumroad or from school.com. We're going to import the Shopify blog automation workflow, and we're going to see this beautiful screen full of different type of nodes and processes in a 9-step algorithm. Later, I'm going to be showing you how to set everything up so that it runs perfectly for your blog. But before we can start, we need to import a few more things. So we're just going to go ahead and create another workflow. This time, we're going to import one of the tools that we have created. We're going to import the web search JSON tool. This tool allows us to search the web for any relevant or updated information. Okay, once this is done, we're going to go ahead and import the remaining two. For the next one, we're going to go ahead and import the check link status JSON. So this one allows us to check whether any link in our website is valid or not. This is especially important if you're going to check external links. Okay, next we're going to import the most important bit, which is the Gemini tool. The Gemini tool allows us to generate the banner images as well as the images inside the content of each blog using Gemini Nano Banana. Now that we have all our tools in place, we're going to go ahead and set them up one by one. This is super important for us to test the functionality of each tool before we get into the main workflow of Shopify blog automation. After we test everything, we need to make sure that all the credentials are in place before we actually make any changes to the output of the Shopify blog. So customization comes last. Next is we're going to customize the tool one by one. The easiest one is the check link status. So if the link works, it's going to go up. And if the link doesn't work, it's going to go down. Just now we use pinkmatcha.co and it works. That means the link is valid. But if we change the pinkmatcha.co into something like maybe using a weird domain like .color, it should return us false because I'm not quite sure if .color exists. So you're going to execute the workflow and it goes down. That means it is able to give us a true or false statement whether a website actually is valid or not. This is super important because it actually helps us determine whether our external outbound links are valid. So we're just going to quickly publish the workflow and that's it. Now we're going to move on to the next one. The next one is for our web search. Now to search the web, we are going to use our ChatGPT account. Because we can actually you can use other APIs, but for me, it's very simple to use the ChatGPT 4.0 search preview. Now we need to set up our OpenAI account. We need an API key and an organization ID. If you do not yet have an OpenAI account, I highly suggest you make one. We also get free OpenAI credits, so if you want to really test out the workflow, go ahead. Next, we're going to jump to this website called platforms.openai.com. Over here, we're just going to go and to see our dashboard. And in our dashboard, we're going to go ahead and generate our API key by going to the API keys on the left-hand side. Now we're going to go ahead and create a new key. I'm just going to call mine N8N. And it's going to give us our API key. So this is something that you will want to copy and then bring it to your main workflow again. Paste it here and just test the connection. We can leave organization ID as blank. And we're just going to test our connection to OpenAI. So we're just going to press save and connection successful. Now make sure what's very important is that you actually have a payment method connected to your account. Otherwise, this whole prompt will not work. So once everything is set, we're just going to execute workflow and we're going to ask it a simple, really simple question and it should give us a good output. So we're just going to search for a simple prompt like how many users does ChatGPT have? I think it's a generic question and it's pretty valid to right now of today. It's going to ask a question like right today, how many users does it have? So we're going to ask the model, which is 4.0 preview, and let us look at the answer. As of December 2025, ChatGPT has over 800 monthly active users. So this gives us two things. It gives us some data and context, and it also gives us today's date. So it's able to check data in real time. That's super important. So we're just going to go ahead and publish this workflow. Now, if this doesn't work, make sure that your OpenAI has billing enabled and you've connected your bank account. Next is we're going to go ahead and go to our Gemini tool. Our Gemini tool requires us to configure a few things. It's a little bit more complex than the previous two. So first is we're going to go ahead and configure our Gemini. So in this case, we're going to use Google Gemini to generate images using the latest technology called Google Nano Banana Flash Pro. From all of my experiences, I think this is the best image model so far and it's able to combine our existing logo. So now we're going to go ahead to Google AI Studio.google.com. Over here, we're just going to go to the API section and create our first API key. Here, they're going to ask us to import a project. Usually, it's a Google Cloud project. So if you do not have one, please create it. Once you have, then you can connect it to your N8N. Then you can connect it to your API key. Once this whole process is finished, make sure that you have your billing enabled on Google Cloud and have some sort of credit card connected to it in order for this to work. Once your whole API key has been generated, just press the copy button and make sure that your billing has been enabled. Okay, once that's done, you're just going to press save and everything should be connected pretty easily. Perfect. Now it's going to generate image already. Now it needs a place to store the image. To store the image, we're going to store it directly to our Shopify blog because we do not need external CDNs once we already have Shopify. So we're going to go ahead and see our configuration. So we have a subdomain .myshopify.com, and this uses the API key of Shopify to actually directly send our image and upload it to the themes area of Shopify. So if you don't have a Shopify account, I'm just going to set one up really quickly for you to see how this whole thing works. So we're going to go to admin.shopify.com, we're going to create an account, and we're going to pay with PayPal. Usually it charges about $20 to $25 a month, but usually they give like $1 per month for the first 3 months. This is actually a very standard promotion, so you can go ahead to Shopify and make an account. And I'm going to call this website Khan Supplements. So I'm going to try creating a brand new website from scratch, talking about supplements as well as gym accessories. We're going to see how good the website looks in a bit, and we're going to just enable our online store, and we're going to remove any password that's attached to it. We're going to see what our website looks like, and it looks like a pretty standard Shopify base empty template with a few placeholder images. I think the website looks pretty good. And now what's most important is we need to find a way to connect the N8N to Shopify. So we're just going to search for app and sales channels. Here we're going to go to the top right and press develop apps and build apps in the dev dashboard. We're going to go ahead to the dev dashboard where we can create the API keys as well as the apps for us to connect. We're going to press create app, and then we're going to name the N8 app name something like your personal name or your project name /N8N for simple configuration. Okay, this allows us to create an app to connect to Shopify, and we see that the app URL is example.com, something that we don't really need to change. The webhooks, we're just going to leave it as is. And what's important is that we need to first configure our redirect URL because every app needs to sign and needs to communicate with N8N. So we're just going to go ahead and press create a new credential, and we have the OAuth redirect URL. So that's something that we need to copy and bring it back to our Shopify dev dashboard. So we're going to go to the redirect URLs and just paste it. And then next is we need to configure our scopes. Scopes is basically asking Shopify's permission on what can we send and access from our API. The first thing is we need to check for orders. Right? I'm just going to show you how to set everything up. We're just going to select scopes and we're going to search for orders. Okay, I'm just going to enable all of them so that we don't have any rooms for any API misconfigurations. So orders is basically for most of the requirements. Then we're going to go ahead to product so that we can read and write the product descriptions in our Shopify store and insert it into the blog. Next, we're going to write themes, enable everything. And the last one is for content. Read, write, for store content. Content is basically where the blogs come in, right? So in Shopify, they don't call it really blog, they call it like contents. And then later we're going to set up different types of blogs. So once we have got all the access, we've got the redirect URL, we're just going to name the version as something simple like version 1. And we're just going to save and publish this. Once it has already been active, it's already set up. It doesn't actually require any Shopify approval. Then we're going to go on the left hand side, we're going to press settings, and we're going to see a client ID and client secret. So this is super important for us to authenticate. So we're going to copy this back to our N8N, the client ID, and now we're going to copy the client secret as well. Bring it back to our N8N workflow, paste it, and save the whole credential. And that should be it. Now we also have our Khan supplements, which is our subdomain. So we need to enter the shop subdomain before connecting the account. So once we've done this, we're going to press connect the account. It's going to require us to log in again and to install the app on our um, Shopify page. Once everything is done, the connection should be successful. And now, before actually sending the image, we need to configure a few things. So while testing the whole workflow, we're just going to double click on the sample data that we are sending to our um, image generation tool. So first, we're going to enter the Shopify subdomain. We're going to change it to Khan Supplements, and then we're going to get the theme ID. Now, where do you find the theme ID? You go to the left to your online stores, what we just created, go to themes, and now we're just going to edit the theme for fun sake. So we're just going to press edit the theme, and we should see on top there's an ID in the URL, which gives us the theme ID. So this is something again important that we need to copy paste back into our workflow and see if the whole thing works. We're not going to change any of the prompts, and we're just going to give the whole workflow a test run to see. It seems that generating the image has been successful, and now even uploading the image to Shopify has been successful. So at the end, we're going to see that there's a link to cdn.shopify.com. This allows us to access our images, and we see that the image has been working very well. This is actually very tailored to pinkmatcha.co, but I'm pretty sure that your website does not want something like this. So we're going to go ahead and try to customize it for your site to see if the whole process works well. So first is we're going to change the sample input, and we're going to make sure it's more related to Khan Supplements. So Khan Supplements is a muscular brand for athletes. I'm just going to say that we want a man inside wearing a black sling top always, and making something like gym man bulk, as a simple slug. Now we don't have a branding URL, so I'm just going to Google something really quick about what supplement logo looks like, and it seems that there is a few images of supplement logo. I think this one looks very nice. It's a leaf, and the leaf looks very natural, I guess. So we're just going to open it in a new tab and then copy the URL that we see above. We're going to bring it back to our workflow, and we're going to save it and make sure that the branding style, I don't think so we want a girl holding a drink, right? We want like a supplement tub, maybe a supplement logo and the supplement tub back to back with each other. Okay. So once we've changed this, should we change the image style as well? Box framing, avoid any designs. I think everything looked good, so we're just going to give it another run. Hopefully this time it doesn't generate a woman with pink matcha, but it generates a man in the gym and holding my tub of supplements with my brand logo on it. And we're going to go ahead and see the image, and boom! I think this one looks really well, really professional, especially for Khan Supplements. I think this should be definitely one of our banner images. So far I like the quality, and so far the tool really works. We're just going to publish it and call it a simple version name. And I think all of our 3 tools has worked so far. So I guess now it's time for the real fun to begin. Now before we actually customize the main workflow, I think we need to create a few new products. So I'm just going to create a few test products for us to play with and see if the products actually get inserted into our blog. So first I'm going to create a supplements tube for my athletes. I actually do not have any picture yet, right? So maybe instead of finding a picture, I'm just going to tell Shopify to generate an image for me, and hopefully the image looks pretty much okay, So let us generate an image and see. I actually don't know which tool Shopify uses, but the name of the brand is wrong, Stork, but it's okay. I think we're just going to use this for trial. So I'm going to create a few products, and we've got our first product, which is a supplements tube. Actually, I should have said supplements tub, but I guess I wrote supplements tube instead. We're going to give it a price. We're going to give it initial stock quantity, and inventory. Let's track it. Sure, no problem. What's the product weight? I'm going to give it like maybe 1 kilo, so that at least we have some data to work around with. Okay, once everything looks pretty much okay, since we're just doing this for testing, I'm just going to go ahead and save the product. Okay, I think for us to really enjoy the workflow, I think we need a few more products to work with, right? Because we want our AI to know, to become very smart and intuitive in deciding which product to insert in which blog. so that it becomes more relevant with each other. Next, I'm just going to create. Oh, product actually appears in our website, and it's our first product. Super happy with our progress. We can see it's there on our Shopify with the description. People can check out, and so far so good. I guess now I think we need to make it a bit more flavorful. So we're going to go ahead and create a few new products. Now for my next prodigy of an item, I'm going to make gym gloves to protect your wrist. I don't have any image, so I'm just going to generate it again with the all-powerful Shopify image generation. Okay, let's see. Looks like pretty standard gym gloves. Okay, we're just going to insert this to our products. Just going to give some values to quantity, to the weight, and we're going to save it as active. And then we're going to go ahead and create another product. This time it's going to be a gym bag. I actually really want to make one gym bag which has like a laptop sleeve in it. So it's perfect for you like to go to work and then to go to the gym after, and then has place for all your shoes. It's down there in one of my pipelines. And one day when I launch it, I'll notify you guys. But I think this is it's a close resemblance to the product I want. So I'm just going to save this and publish it as well. So now we have got 3 products in our Shopify store. And yeah, I think 3 products is quite enough for today. Okay, next is we're going to go to our blog settings. To go to our blog settings, we're going to go to content, and then we're going to search for blog posts. Okay, we do not have any blog posts, but before actually creating a blog post, we need to create a few blogs, right? So we're just going to go to add a blog, and we're going to create a few more. I'm just going to I think one of my categories in this case will be accessories, which is perfect for the gym gloves. I'm going to press save, and I think we need like a few more categories. So I think I'm going to create another category, and in this case I'm going to call it nutrition. So I think nutrition works really well if I want to put my supplements tube over there, and we're going to create one last category, which in this case will be exercises. So maybe this relates more towards different kind of stretches, poses that people will have, and we can somehow relate to the gym bag and how the gym bag is perfect. So once everything is done, we're going to go back to our technical setup, and we're going to copy the Shopify blog automation Google Sheets. Now this is important because now we already have our blog posts and everything. We need to make sure that everything is in sync with each other. So we have some few RSS feed, we have like a few default categories, and we have a few default details which all relates to Pink Matcha. Now I'm going to show you how to customize everything. So we're going to select all of our existing RSS feed, and we're just going to delete them and start from scratch. Now, I'm not a big fan of finding RSS feed. Usually I get very lazy and depend on my friend ChatGPT to do it for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask ChatGPT to generate about 10 RSS links. But one thing I notice about GPT is that sometimes it provides the links, but doesn't mean that the links are valid. Sometimes it provides links and they're not really RSS feeds, so they're like broken links. So I'm going to have to test them one by one to see. Now, if you see this kind of black screen with like a bunch of code in XML format, it means you're on the right place. It means that the link that ChatGPT provided is working clearly. Let's try another link. And over here, we see that there's a 404 because some websites don't allow you to script their RSS feed. So we have to test all these links until we actually see a black page like this. The black page indicates a success, and any other page apart from that indicates that the link cannot be used. So we're going to try all of these links one by one because this is super important. If you don't try the links, it's a high chance of the workflow not working. Once we find links that work, we're just going to copy paste it to our Google Sheets. And we're just going to do this for all the links that we have tested one by one manually before we actually depend on the automation workflow to do its thing and to cook the right results. So we see that the link is also pretty good. News.atom is fine. And then we're going to find a few other feed. So usually RSS feed is always /feed /RSS /feed.xml. And this is how you know that it's an actually RSS feed. So RSS feed is like whenever any other website writes content on their website, you get notified. Like you get a technical document which says what have they posted, and we're going to use that as reference when creating our own article. Why? It's because we want our articles to always be fresh, and we can't always depend on ChatGPT or Gemini to generate fresh ideas. Sometimes we need reference from other people, and that's okay. Now that we have already have our RSS links, we're going to go ahead and customize our categories. So over here we have like some default categories, and you can see it's a bit different from our Shopify. We see that the news is created by default, but we don't need it, so we're going to delete this. So we are left with 3 other categories, which is accessories, nutrition, and exercises. So I'm going to delete the existing ones that we have in our Google Sheets and just going to name them one by one. So accessories, and then nutrition, and exercises. So we need to make sure that the spelling as well as the capital case is exactly correct for our whole workflow to work perfectly. Next, the description and ID is pretty outdated, so we're just going to remove all of them as well, and we're just going to leave some for reference. So for the first one, accessories, we're just going to write about the description is what kind of articles do we want here. So I want articles regarding gym accessories like bags, gloves, and shoes. And then we're going to write the description for the nutrition as well as for the exercises. This is important for the AI to know on what articles to actually put under these categories. Okay, once that's done, we need to fill in the IDs. The IDs are what we see on Shopify. So we're just going to click the accessories and we see the ID on the URL above, right? And we need to do this for each of the categories that we have. Next, we're going to go to nutrition. We're going to see an ID on top, copy paste it. And then next, we're going to go see our exercises. We're going to click on it and see the category ID on the top and the URL. So once that's done, our whole categories page is finished. And next, we need to change the domain, the brand name, and everything else. So we're just going to copy paste. We're going to go to our main website first to see everything works correct. So khansupplements.myshopify.com. We're just going to copy paste it. And then for the brand name, it's Khan Supplements. Right? The Shopify store subdomain is basically the word before myshopify.com. So we're just going to delete everything before myshopify, delete the HTTPS, and Khan-supplements is our brand store. Shopify link, we're going to remove it with a new one. The theme ID, we need to go back to our theme settings to get it. So we go to our online store, and then we're going to edit the theme. Same process we did before. We need to make sure that this is absolutely correct. So you're going to press edit theme, and after editing theme, the first digit on the top is one that is our theme ID. Correct. Now our branding logo, I actually forgot where I placed it. The main supplement. Okay, this is the main logo of the supplements. We're just going to copy the URL, and we need to make sure that this is accessible. Right, so we're just going to change this to our branding logo. Our image style and branding style, something that you can change if it's needed, or if you want to customize it really for your brand, if you write about literature, if you write about legal or any other thing. But we need to specify that we want our logo at the top left. Another thing that's super important is once we have everything written down, we need to check and make sure that there's no errors anywhere. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention, for the domain, you actually need to make sure that it's without the HTTPS, right? So it's just like khan-supplements.myshopify.com. This is to make sure that it's consistent with our whole workflow. So on the domain, make sure that there's no HTTPS and everything should work well. Now we are ready to configure our main workflow. I know it looks a bit complicated, but if you hang with me, I'll help you set up the whole process from start to end. First, we're going to make sure that we connect our RSS feed. Now, you remember we have already set that up in Google Sheets, but we have not yet connected Google Sheets to our N8N. So we're going to go ahead, connect a new credential, and press sign in with Google. This option is only available if you use the N8N cloud, like how we registered. Otherwise, you'll have to follow the N8N standard procedure on how to connect a Google OAuth account towards your self-hosted N8N. That's for a separate video, and you can press a link above to see how the whole process works. Once that's configured, we need to make sure that we are referring the right document. Press the copy of Shopify blog automation. For me, the correct one is the one below, because that's the one we have actually configured just now. We're going to choose from the sheets the RSS. and that whole process has been completed. So now that we have got our RSS feed configured, we're going to first work on step 1, step 2, and step 3. Once we have got this whole sequential flow configured, then we will move on to the next one. Next is we need to set up our MongoDB, but we have not yet created an account, right? So the first thing that I want you to do is create the MongoDB and press create new credentials. It requires us to do a few things, and we're going to go ahead to our mongodb.com to create our basic first database. We're going to register. You can either sign up or using email. I'm going to choose using Google login because for me it's much simpler. By Google login, I just have to give my basic credentials and then follow the whole setup process. Usually they ask you a few questions, and I'm just going to press accept. And once the whole process has been finished, they're going to ask you like a few preliminary questions. I just normally write random stuff, and this is important. We're going to deploy the free cluster with 512 MB of RAM. This is absolutely enough for us to make the whole blog automation from start to finish, and we're just going to create our first cluster. A cluster is more or less like a database. So now we have a username, we have a password, and we're going to go ahead and press create database to register this username and password in our backend. Then once that whole process has been finished, we're going to choose a connection method. I'm going to press the compass, and then over below our MongoDB driver, then you're going to see a connection string. We're going to copy the connection string and bring it back to our N8N to make the whole connection seamless. So we're going to choose a configuration type as connection string, and we're going to paste the string just now. We need a database, but we do not have that yet. So I'm going to go back to our N8N, and we're going to wait for the cluster to finish. You can see it's loading the sample data set. We don't actually need it, but it's what MongoDB does. Next is once everything has been loaded properly, we're going to go to the left side and we're going to see a button called Data Explorer. So this is the place where we can actually visualize all our data side by side and see the key value pair for each item. So we're going to go ahead and connect to our cluster 0 that we have just created. This is basically our instance that stores our database. Next, we're going to create a new database. We're going to call it N8N. And for the collection name, we're going to use it to store our first information. So we're going to call it Shopify News Articles. And then we're going to go ahead and press create. So now we're going to be using the database name called N8N from here onwards. So all data will be here. Next, we need to create a few more tables for our process to run smoothly. So we're going to go to the N8N and we're going to see the plus sign beside it. We're going to type Shopify News Chunks. Again, we're going to create it. And now we need another table. So we're going to go to N8N and we're going to press the plus button beside the N8N on MongoDB. Okay, and we're going to call this as Shopify blog. Make sure to use all the spacing as how it's displayed. Make sure that everything is in small case. And next, we're going to go back to our N8N and we're going to say the database is N8N. Then we're going to go ahead and press save, and everything should be running smoothly. Now that we have got our full connection to, you couldn't connect with these settings as an SSL error. So if you see something similar like this, I want you to go to the left hand side, go to the database and network access. This means that N8N is not able to connect to N8N because it's not registered in the IP address. We're going to add an IP address and press allow access from anywhere. If you don't see this option, just press 0.0.0.0/0. Once this has been configured properly, we're going to go back to our N8N and retry our connection. Okay, let's hope it works this time. And it's a green connection tested successfully. So we've got our Google Sheets, we've got our RSS feed, and we've got our N8N. Okay, so seems everything is perfect for running step number 1. Before going to step number 2, I want you to just run step number 1 until the whole thing is done successfully. Okay, before moving to the next step, we need to make sure everything works. There's a small error, and it seems that it has not been able to read the credentials for our AI nodes. So we're going to go ahead to our OpenAI, and then we can double click on this as well as Gemini to make sure that there is some credentials at the top. And you can see that we have an OpenAI account. And if we go to the AI chat model as well, some of you may see this option called N8N free OpenAI credits, and you can click that if that option is available. Next, we need to make sure that our tools also work properly. Since we are using multiple tools, we need to make sure our web search tool works. Just copy all the information below so that if in case you change it and it gets deleted, you can paste it again. So we're going to select the tool web search, correctly. And we're going to do the same thing for the other tools as well. So we're just going to press the workflow. We're going to check the tools from below. Now for the last one, we need to make sure that our generate image, the tool Gemini, has been selected properly. So we're going to select the drop down and press the tool Gemini, and everything looks good so far. So we're going to go ahead and save this whole workflow and run it again from the top. We're going to run it from step number 1, scrape daily news items. Don't worry, there won't be any duplicates because we have already handled any duplicate in articles. It seems that it's running step number 1 correctly, and in step number 2, there's a few issues. One of them is MongoDB Atlas Vector Store. So we're going to double click on the red error note, and we're just going to copy this text here, index Shopify news chunk index. We're going to go back to our MongoDB, go to the search and vector search tab. We're going to delete anything that's not important to us, and we're going to create a new search index from scratch. We're going to choose vector search, and then we're going to paste the exact text that we copied into the index name. For the database, we're going to choose N8N and then choose Shopify news chunks. After that, we're going to create and go to the next step. Let the path load a bit, and then once the drop down appears, we're going to click it and press the embeddings. So the similarity method is .product, and the filter field, we need to search for created date. Once everything is configured, we're just going to review and then create the index. The index usually takes a few minutes to configure depending on how many data you have. But once that's done, you should see that the documents has been indexed correctly. Once that's done, we can go back to our MongoDB and make sure that you also configure this node right here. The one before the MongoDB, the Google Sheets, we need to make sure that that Google Sheets is referring the right document. So we're just going to press the document, select the right copy of Shopify blog automation, and make sure that our sheet is referring to the categories. So we're just going to choose from the drop down and find the category. This is just to make sure that we are referencing the right details from our sheets. Once that's done, I think we are all good to go. So we're going to go ahead and run the whole workflow from step number 1. No need to worry about any duplicates because we have already handled that in our workflow. And the next is, okay, we are going to generate topics. And for each topic that we have, we're going to reference a few article IDs. And once this has been done, we can see our MongoDB in our data explorer. We can connect to our cluster 0 and then browse in our N8N database. And then we can go to the blog, Shopify blog. And then we're going to see over there a few articles has been created. A few of them you can see has completed step number 2 during our error phase, but the good articles has been completed step number 3 in our next iteration that we did. Right, so for the article in step number 3, we can see it has got a lot more data. And for each of these articles that we're going to write about, we have like facts, we have named entities, we have quotes, we have related keywords that we have extracted from our source RSS feed. Now that everything looks good, we're just going to go back to our main workflow. And I think it's time that we work on step 4.1. Now we need to double click again on the get details so that we make sure that we are referring to the right Google Sheets again. Again, this is super important. We don't want to use any outdated information or any wrong Google Sheets. Choose from the drop down and choose the details. This is where we write information about our company, our blog, and our articles. Right, let's just make sure that all the nodes have been set up properly. And in step number 7, we're just going to double click on the call Gemini tool and make sure that we're referencing the right tool again. So we're going to choose the tool Gemini. And once that has been chosen, we can configure the other articles. We have like created storefront token, but that should not be an issue. We're going to double click on the get categories and make sure again that we're choosing the right sheet that we're referring to. And from the list, we're going to choose the categories. We're just going to copy this whole text to make sure that nothing changes when we copy it, because we're going to filter the column name of the categories based on what the AI has generated. So make sure that this is exactly copied from what it is. If the value don't show up, just refresh the list and the column should appear correctly. Okay, next we're going to review all of the articles. Now we're going to see the create blog and publish. We're going to make sure that everything looks good. It's referencing our subdomain. There's nothing much to change here, but we just need to make sure our credentials looks okay. And next is we have a Twitter account that we have not yet set up. So I'm just going to do this really quickly. I'm going to create a new credential and it requests an auth redirect URL. So I'm just going to copy that value and bring it to our Twitter developer account. So once we have copied this, I'm just going to go to the website called developer.x.com. This is the website that allows us developers to interact with the Twitter API. So we see that I've registered for the free for the free tier, and it's enough for about 500 posts per month, which is, I think, more than enough. So we're going to go see the projects that we have created, and we're going to add the redirect URL to our app info. If you don't know how to set it up, you want a longer tutorial, I will leave the link below. And then we're just going to go ahead to our keys and tokens and choose the OAuth 2.0 client ID and client secret. So these two information, we want to copy them and bring it back to our N8N, because this will allow us to interact with our main Twitter account. So the first one is the client ID. I'm just going to copy and paste it here. And then next, I'm going to go to our Twitter account, and then we're going to regenerate the client secret again from scratch. Okay, for the client secret, we're going to go back to our developer portal, and then we're going to regenerate it to make sure that no attacker has access to this. Don't worry, by the time you see this, I've already changed the client secret, but we're just going to copy this and bring it back to our N8N and paste it. Next, it's going to require us to actually log into our Twitter account. This is to make sure that we have real ownership of the account. So I'm just going to press the connect button, and then everything is going to save. Okay, now the Twitter pop-up should appear, and once you log in, the connection is successful. Now we are completely authenticated to access our Twitter account. So now that we have all the credentials needed, we're going to go ahead and run the whole workflow from step number 4 in order to generate the full blog article on Shopify, as well as publish it to distribute it on platforms like Twitter once it's complete. Okay, now let us run the whole workflow again, but this time from step 4.1. In step 4.1, we're just going to create a few tasks for the AI agent to work on. Tasks like create an introduction, create an image, create the body, and then the 4.2 AI agent is going to use this task to actually write the content. And then 4.3 is going to see if the quality is good enough or not. And then it goes to 4.4, which improves the quality of the content before actually publishing it. So I think the whole workflow is done, and we've passed all our particular steps. Step number 5 generates a blog title, and step number 6 does a meta description. So we're just going to look at the article generated. We have like a beautiful girl on the top with our brand colors. We have very good content. We have like inbound, outbound links, and even the FAQ section. So I think like the whole content generation has worked, and we can see that this has been posted also to Twitter. So it has been on the first post on top of our previous post. And so we can see that the integration works to WordPress as well as to Twitter. We can see that our Shopify content looks well, and it has gone to the right menu. I think we're just going to make sure that we have a few more menus. I'm just going to create one menu per category of blog post that I have, just so that we can able to visualize the content much better. So I'm just going to create one menu for accessories, another menu for nutrition, and another menu for one menu for exercises, and another menu for nutrition. So once we have all our menus in place, I think it's easier to navigate the content as we move around in our Shopify store. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and press save, and we're just going to remove any menu that is not relevant anymore. Okay, now that we have got the whole thing compiled, we're just going to see what our blog looks like. We're not able to see the blogs in the main page, so we're just going to go ahead and fix that. To do so, I'm just going to go to the online store, go to the themes section, and I'm going to edit the theme. When editing the theme, I'm just going to edit the home page. We have a list of products that we are promoting. I'm just going to add a few more sections. So the first one, I'm going to add a grid section for our blog post. And then I'm just going to filter so that it shows only the blog post of a particular category. In the top right, I'm just going to choose accessories. And so this is going to write all articles about accessories. Since we have no articles, nothing shows up. I'm just going to add another grid, and this time I'm going to make sure it's only for exercises. So I'm just going to create the exercises option. And then next, I'm going to create another grid for the blog post, but this time it's for nutrition. So here I'm just going to select nutrition. And since we have previously generated an article for nutrition, then it appears in this main page. So that's the way I have set up my whole WordPress. So for different blogs. So now what I'm going to do is, now that we have different sections for different blogs based on the categories, I'm just going to look at what the website looks like at this moment. Okay, so we have products, accessories blog, exercises blog, nutrition blog. Now, since a few of them are still empty, other than nutrition, I'm just going to go ahead and run the workflow again twice in order for us to create 2 more blog posts for our WordPress. So I'm going to go back to the workflow. I'm going to press on execute the workflow from step 4.1. And what it's going to do is, again, it's going to generate the whole article from scratch. And this time it's going to use a different news article to write a different blog post in a different category. So I'm just going to let it do its thing. And at the bottom, it's just going to keep publishing the content with it's just going to keep writing new content, it's going to keep publishing, and it's going to boost up our SEO and domain ranking of our Shopify site. The whole process usually takes like about 15 minutes, but this whole video is like being speed up by 20 times so that we can see what the output looks like. So if it's taking a bit slow on yours, don't worry. So now I've generated 2 more articles, and this one is for exercises, nutrition, and as well for accessories. So I guess the whole website is complete now on what pink matcha actually looks like at the beginning. Now let's look at the content. How do you start instability training safely? So we have our main logo at the top left. We have our brand ambassador, and then we have our little bit article, and we have also inserted our products inside. So the AI actually detects which of our products they wants to promote in this article, and this time it has also added an add to cart button which users can press and then directly check out on the product while reading the article. So this makes the whole process a bit seamless when reading a particular content and then checking out the product at the same time. This is what we call direct CTA to get conversion on any product that you're trying to sell on Shopify. So this shows that our whole workflow has been completed, and it's able to post directly on Shopify and include the blog post and include the products inside the blog post as well. Okay, now we're just going to navigate our new navigation to see what the different pages looks like. Accessories, exercises, and nutrition. And now it's all filled up with different kind of quality content. Now that our blog is complete, we can go back to our main workflow and publish this workflow so that it turns on without us having to manually trigger it every day. We can also configure on how many posts that we want to create by adjusting the minimum and maximum of the structured output content. So for me, it's set up to 5 minimum and 5 maximum. That means it always creates 5 posts a day. But maybe you want to generate 5 to 10. So I suggest you change this number. And then we're going to go ahead and press the publish button and call it version 1. After the whole workflow has been published, it's going to start creating content for you automatically. If you really enjoy content such as this, where we discuss about marketing and sales automation for you and your business to scale up exponentially, I highly suggest you join our AIA community on school.com. You can also hit the subscribe and the follow button on this YouTube channel because I constantly create content which is very robust and structured for you to follow step by step in a tutorial manner where you can implement many of the sales and marketing automation for you and your company and your projects. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and leave a comment on your Shopify store that you actually created using this workflow and inspire many other creators that are trying to automate their marketing and sales processes. Thank you and see you in the next video.